Hey everyone, I wanted to make a video that's a little bit different than usual. I'm going to be talking about an article that came out a few days ago, actually on November the 9th. And so actually this is the 6 months financial results briefing and corporate meeting management policy briefing for the fiscal year ending March 2023 by Nintendo. It's a Q&A summary. So this is notable because not only does it include the president, but it also includes a few other key figures like Shigeru Miyamoto. There's a few interesting points, but in particular I really want to talk about question 5. So the person asks pretty much, hey, what's going on with backwards compatibility? Are you guys talking about it or not? And Miyamoto says, verbatim, in the past we built a service called Virtual Console as a way for players to enjoy classic games on more modern hardware. In terms of compatibility, visual content has an advantage because it can be enjoyed continuously as long as you have a playback environment. However, legal rights for visual content can become quite complicated, so I have mentioned before that Nintendo is proceeding with visual content with a firm grip on the rights. Previously, software development for dedicated video game systems was conducted in development environments dedicated to each hardware platform. This meant that those environments could not be brought forward when the hardware changed, and it would become impossible to play software released for previous hardware without making changes. However, the software development environments have recently been gradually integrated, so generally speaking, it has become easier to implement an environment where software released for past hardware can be played on new hardware. Having said so, Nintendo's strength is in our creation of new entertainment, so when we release new hardware going forward, we plan to continue to offer new and unique gameplay that cannot be realized on existing hardware. I wasn't sure how to react to this, but I do think it's very important that Nintendo makes their old games accessible. I just made a short about GameCube prices in Japan, and they're going up. People are going to look to alternative means. Now, to be honest, I haven't really talked about emulation on this channel. It's something I've avoided, but I totally get it. Nintendo doesn't want to offer these games to us. They don't want to offer them. We want to pay for them. We want to pay for Melee again. We want to pay for Super Mario Sunshine again. We want to pay for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. We want to pay for these games. They're not giving us the option to. When people turn to emulation as a means to enjoy these classic titles, I can't blame them. Nintendo is sitting on a gold mine of classic games that can be re-released, and I know some games may have some difficulties with re-releasing, like the Star Wars trilogies for example, on Super Nintendo, but they've done it before. A lot of these companies realize the value of games and they're willing to put these old titles out again. GoldenEye's coming out, and if that could come out, anything could come out. So, while the rights is a problem, they're Nintendo. It's something they can definitely work through, no problem, in my opinion. And it's just upsetting because they mentioned the Virtual Console as well, and that, it's amazing to me because it was done so right on the Wii. The Wii U, it was good, they had some good titles, but if they had a Wii-style system on the Switch, I'd be so happy. I wouldn't mind paying for these games again if I owned them. They were only a couple dollars to buy Super Mario 1 or 2 again. Sure, I would do it. And to me, by him saying that, this having said so, the strength is creating new hardware, and I do understand that. Of course it's important, but you have to honor the legacy of these older games too. There's a reason people like them. There's a reason they're still so popular. There's a reason they're selling for so much money. Now I hope that this last bit was just Miyamoto saying, hey, we're gonna keep innovating and pushing forward, and not, slamming the idea of making backwards compatible services. It's something I think they need to do, and they're not doing a good job of it right now. We should be having GameCube titles, Wii U titles ready to go. People will buy these games again, so it just baffles me that Nintendo doesn't want to have these ready and available. It's one reason I'm such a huge fan of Microsoft, because I think they're doing such a good job with their backwards compatibility, and it's one reason that I recommend it to my friends all the time. I was talking to a friend recently about Resident Evil Code Veronica X, and you can play it on Xbox One and Xbox Series X, because it's an Xbox 360 game, but with the backwards compatibility, it works no problem. You can't say the same for PlayStation. Nintendo has the ability to release these games, and they'll make money from it too. They're trying it with Kirby, right? It just makes you wonder why they're so, not adverse, but they're not going gun-ho in this retro field, where it's proven to be super popular. They sold those mini consoles left and right. So, the comments are a bit confusing. However, I don't want it to sound like it was all negative, because he does mention that it is easier and easier to port things over and make things essentially backwards compatible. So that's good news, but how Nintendo acts on it is a different story. Anyway, I just thought this was interesting. I don't know, I have a kind of a range of emotions about this. You could read into it a bunch of different ways, but again, it's an investor's call. They gotta kind of be professional, and they can't really give too much away. But what do you guys think? I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks about Nintendo's stance. and how they feel about this whole retro thing, how they're implementing things with the Switch Online service. Let me know in the comments below. I'm very curious. I think they need to put out more. That's what I think. They need to put out more games, put out GameCube games, put out Wii games. These things should be accessible, or else they're just going to drive people away. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.